Welcome back to the NRL Banter Box. My name's the Professor, and we are joined by someone who is more enthusiastic than back fence Spence for the kickoff in the anticipation, the lead up to State of Origin Game 2. Welcome, Lil P.
Hey, Professor, we've had a round of footy that's been pretty epic, actually. A couple of sin bins, head injuries here and there. But, of course, we are recording this on the eve of State of Origin Game 2, where Queensland has the opportunity to make a great comeback. So, yeah, let's get in with it, Professor.
Fantastic, Lil P. So, we'll be touching on the round that was, the round that will be post Game 2 in State of Origin. But before we get there, let's dive into this week's Who Am I?
So, who am I? Hopefully you get this one, listeners. Listen closely. I grew up in Rockhampton, Queensland, where I loved footy, fishing, and a bit of cheeky fun. I made my NRL debut in 2014 and have been in Melbourne Storm ever since. Think thunder, lightning, and plenty of energy. I'm known for my unpredictable plays, strong defence, and the kind of sidestep that keeps defenders guessing. I've played in grand finals, origin matches, and even helped Australia win on the international stage. Off the field, I'm a dad, a larrikin, and someone who's worked hard to turn things around when times get tough. And here's a clue, my hairstyle changes almost as often as my game plan. Stay tuned, everyone, and we'll be back with the answer at the end of this episode.
Oh, thanks, Lil P. And who is celebrating their birthday this week? Who's getting a little bit older?
So happy birthday to the following. So on the 16th of June, we have Latrell Mitchell of the Rabbitohs. On the 17th, we have Daniel Tupou from the Roosters. And the next day, we have Nico Hines from the Sharks. On the 21st now, we have Tyson Gamble of the Knights and Dylan Brown of the Eels. And finally, on the 23rd of June, we have Damien Cook of the Dragons. Big happy birthday, fellas. I wish you all the best for your remainder of the season and all the best for your celebrations.
Thanks, Little P. So round 15 is done. We had 5 games of NRL action. What caught your eye in terms of highlights this week, Lil P?
Yeah, well, Professor, for the following weeks, actually, when we turn to highlights, a team that's been raised has been the Dolphins, actually, quite a few times. They've played so well this round, Professor. They are a serious contender for top 5, and they just seem to be getting try after try after try, and slowly I think they will be making their way up the ladder this season. I think the Cowboys, that was definitely an upset, actually. I was quite strongly expecting the Cowboys to win that one, but the Dolphins fought back and they were, I think, 20-4 at halftime, something like that. So yeah, well done to the Dolphins. I think they are really a serious contender for top 5 and a great team to watch. I also like the upset between the Titans and the Manly Sea Eagles. Titans had great defense. There are a couple of moments where Manly, they were about to score and they were pushed out of the boundaries because of the great defenders on the Titans side. And finally, I really like Damien Cook from the Dragons. Obviously, he's celebrating his birthday in a couple of days as well. But it was a great try, and his great footwork. It was like left foot, right foot, just dodging back and forth. It was really great to see that footwork from him. So well done to the Dolphins, and I love Titans defense and Damien Cook. That was my highlights, Professor.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in the same category with you, Lil P, and also talk about the Dolphins. They are going remarkably well. So the last 3 games, Lil P, they've scored over 150 points. But one statistic that would please Coach Christian Wolf the most is that they've conceded 18 points in 3 games. So they're absolutely blitzing it with attack, but they've only conceded 18 points across those 3 games. We are in a pretty special time at the moment, and that is the rise and the creation of a new superstar, and that is Katoa, who's the halfback there for the Phins. Watch him very, very closely, Lil P. He is a future New South Wales halfback. Very happy about that. But quickly emerging as someone who's very, very special. And so it is important to note that The Dolphins have major players and their forwards out. Really great players. So Footy is out for the season. Gilbert, we may not see for the remainder of their season. Plath is another important forward that's out. And then Thomas Flegler, we may not see him in 2025. So despite those major players out, they are doing really, really well. And dear oh dear, they take on the Newcastle Knights in Perth this weekend. So that could get a little bit ugly. So the final note there about the Dolphins, Lil P, is the last 5 rounds of the NRL competition. They leave Brisbane once. So they have a major home ground advantage there, limited travel, and I agree, they are a smoky contender and challenger for the premiership this season. So that's what we like. What didn't you like following round 15 of the action this week, Lil B?
Yeah, well, Professor, I only had one low light, and it was a pretty strong one. It was actually the defense from Manly Sea Eagles. It's actually very disappointing to see because, you know, Crimson from the Titans, he ran half of the field. He ran halfway across the field, right? And Manly, they're still behind him. Like, they're not moving at all, and they're not making the tackle. So Manly really need to get on top of their defence and need to really prepare for the rest of the season because it's going to be tough. You need defence and you need attack, but right now their defence is really, really not good. So I think my only low light, Professor, is Manly's defence.
Yeah, Manly, dear oh dear, an underwhelming, underperforming team this year, and they've now slipped outside of the top 8, Little P, and every game from this point forward becomes really important where the chances of securing that top 8 position to play finals football becomes more and more important as the remainder of the season progresses. So my low light is whoever it is, the team at NRL HQ that creates the draw. So Penrith Panthers have 4 players committed to the State of Origin contest tomorrow night, Little P. And that's a game on, of course, on Wednesday night. On Saturday afternoon, they have a game scheduled in New Zealand, which is a 6-hour flight time. And so Coach Ivan Cleary has already made the decision that he will not fly those players. So they're already sort of essentially conceding the loss. So they finish the game on Wednesday night, and then they've got to 2.5 days later play a game in a different country. I just think that is that could have been accounted for. They could have created a bye or have a later sort of Sunday night game just to give the Penrith Panthers a chance of mounting a team and mounting a chance of actually winning that match. So let's dive into the most important talking point of the week, Lil P, and that is the decider for New South Wales. Can Queensland pull it back for the brink and keep this series alive? My question for you is, let's do some rapid fire questions, Lil P. So, there's been a lot of talk about Spencer Leniu and the Queensland side who didn't kick off to him in game 1. So when Queensland do kick off to him and Spencer, back fence Spence receives the ball, who wins that moment?
Yeah, I
Queensland
think
forwards?
Queensland's going to get that one, yeah.
Okay.
Queensland, I'm back in Queensland.
Okay, I agree. I think they're going to absolutely smash him. And despite him being a New South Wales blue, and I do have blue blood running through the veins, Lil P, I don't like Leniu, and I don't like what he's about. I don't like what he did to Jonathan Thurston there a few weeks ago. So, who wins game 2?
Yeah, I'm actually back in Queensland to win, but not by a big margin there, Professor.
Okay, I'm going to back New South Wales in. What's your score prediction?
Probably 18-12, maybe a penalty kick in there somewhere.
Close. Okay. My prediction is the Blues by a margin of at least 20 to 30 points. My final score prediction will be New South Wales to win 40 points to 12. And it will be the 4th consecutive game loss for Queensland. And man of the match, who's your prediction, Lil P?
I'm actually going to probably go with either Nathan Cleary or Xavier Coates. I think
Okay.
Xavier's been on his best game in the last game as well. And Nathan Cleary, some pretty good kicks there. So yeah, either
Okay.
probably one of them.
I'm going to pick a New South Wales forward, and that is Angus Crichton. And so, if you're picking a game two win to keep the series alive and to take us into the decider in Sydney, what is the storyline that emerges on Thursday morning in the media? What's going to dominate the headlines, Lil P?
Well, Professor, that all depends on who wins, but I think with the adrenaline Queensland will be having right now in those jerseys, I think that the headline would probably be Queensland comeback. That it
Queensland
sounds
comeback.
catchy. And yeah,
Yep.
I think it's a pretty good headline. So yeah, Queensland to win 18-12, and I think it's going to be Queensland comeback.
All right. Well, my headline's going to be very different from that, and that is Queensland in crisis. So this will be the fourth consecutive game that Queensland have lost. It will be the second series in a row that the genius coach of Billy Slater has lost, and dear oh dear, the state of origin football there for the Queensland side. So an intriguing contest, a delicious contest. Can't wait to see it there unfold in about 24 hours' time. So let's look ahead to the week ahead, Little P. There's some fascinating games ahead. And then the first matchup is the Tigers on Friday night. They're at Campbelltown and they're taking on the Raiders. How do you see this one?
Yeah, well, Professor, the Raiders are actually fighting the Warriors for second and third place on the ladder, I believe. But Raiders have been pretty outstanding so far this season. And Seb Chris and all the other stars have been on their best game. So I'm probably going to back Raiders to win this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And a quick turnaround for those players. Not many of them from Tigers and Raiders who are backing up there to play on Friday night. So then we head over to New Zealand. We've spoken about this match a little bit earlier. And this is the Warriors. They're at home and they're taking on the Panthers.
Oh, this will be a juicy contest, Professor. I think the Panthers, they've made some comebacks and upsets so far this season, but not too many. They are very low on the ladder. I believe that they might be headed for the wooden spoon so far this season, but yeah, I'm going to back the Warriors for this one.
Yeah, I think so. Just an understrength Penrith Panthers, and would be very surprised if Warriors don't win that one. So then we have another game in Perth following the State of Origin match. We have the Dolphins, and they're taking on the Knights on Saturday afternoon.
Well, the Knights, Professor, they've been very different to the Dolphins so far. I believe you said earlier in the episode that they scored over 150 points in their last three games. Is that right?
Correct. Can you see
Yeah.
another 50, 60 point margin in this one, Lil P?
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely headed for it. I think that polar opposite team, Dolphins are outstanding. They have great footwork on their side, and Knights, not so much. So probably Dolphins for this one, Professor.
Yeah, I mean, the Knights' defense is a little bit stronger than what we saw from the Cowboys, but they can't score points. So, yeah, I'm expecting a big margin there for Phins to win that one. So, Saturday night, we have the Rabbitohs. Gee, an injury-prone side. They've got more players ruled out for this contest. They're at home at a core stadium, and they're taking on the Storm.
Yeah, well, speaking of Storms, Professor, the Rabbitohs at that stadium just last round, they faced a bit of lightning, so they had to
Yeah.
leave the field. But Storms probably going to win that one. I think they are fourth on the ladder, I believe. They should be
Yes.
higher than that, I believe. But yeah, Storm to win that one. Ryan Pappenhausen, Jerome Hughes, all on their best game. And the footwork from Storm recently has been incredible. Like, absolutely incredible. So, Storm to win this one.
Yeah. So then we go to Sunday afternoon. Now, this is emerging as a very important game in the context of ladder position, shoring up those wins during the critical state of origin period. And this is your Brisbane Broncos. They're at home and they're taking on the Sharks.
Yeah, well, Professor, last round Broncos had a bye, but the round before that they versed who was it? I can't remember off the top of my head, but they were wearing a black jersey and they were playing like the All Blacks, Professor. I think
Yeah,
it was
that's
the
great,
jersey
wasn't it?
that brought that those great plays.
Yeah.
So, although they won't be in the black jersey, I don't think. I really, really hope they will win this game, and I know they can. but I will probably actually be backing them. I think they don't have too many Origin commitments apart from, well, Payne Haas, Patrick Carrigan, and Ezra Mam. Think that's it, but I
Yeah,
think they can win without them, even
I
if
think
they
so.
are playing or they won. Yeah, so I think the Broncos will win this one.
Yeah, Sharks are just a hard team to predict at the moment. They kind of rise to the level of their opponent and would see a home ground advantage, and Brisbane likely to win that contest. So then we have a very interesting contest again. Both teams are outside of the top eight. This gives them the opportunity to get some wins. Actually, the Roosters are sitting on eighth position now, Lil P, but it's the Roosters at home, and they're taking on the Cowboys.
Well, the Cowboys, after a great thumping from the Dolphins, I don't think that they will be going into this game with much confidence, so probably not backing them to win that one, Professor.
Yeah, I agree. And let's just talk about the Todd Payton coached Cowboys. They, I think, are at risk of entering a wooden spoon conversation, Little piece. So their last five games, this is the points that they've conceded: 30, 24, 28, 38, 58, and they're averaging a points conceded of 36 per game. I would expect State of Origin stars returning for both sides. Roosters to win this one, and the Cowboys are just sort of slipping out of form, and they'll continue to tumble down that ladder. So then we have, wow, this is an amazing contest. This is the Spoon Bowl, Lil P. We have the 16th placed Parramatta Eels. They're playing at Combank Stadium, and this is a match against the 17th placed last Titans to finish out round 16.
Yeah, well, the Eels, Professor, do you know if Lomax Mitchell and the other one, I can't remember his name, do you know if they will be playing?
They should be. I mean, it depends on the coach and injuries of what happens there in State of Origin game two. But Moses is out. He's out for a few weeks, so we won't see him.
Oh. But yeah, I hope Lomax comes because I think the game sort of relies on those two. I think definitely the Eels to win this one, and it was against the Panthers. Did you say, Professor? No,
Titans.
Titans.
Yes.
Titans. Yeah, they put on a stunning performance actually against the Manly Sea Eagles, but not sure who's going to win this one, Professor. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd like the home ground team here. I'm going to back in the Parramatta Eels, but again, another closely matched contest there. So that's this week's episode, Little P. We'll be chatting with you next week, and for your sake, let's hope that the Queensland team put up a better performance there on Wednesday night. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.